All right, check, check, check. 1, 2, 2, 2. There we go. All right, guys, we're getting started here. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. See if we can get this to clear up for me here. I don't know what the hell is wrong with it there. There we go. That's a little better. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth right here on Starship Adventures. And we are live tonight in Southwest Florida at Starship Studios. And we're still getting everything into studio mode here. Just give me a second to get everything laid out and to get up here so I can see you guys. I like to keep the chat room up top here. That way it's always up. All right, let's see here. Currently we have going out. We have 7 live streams going out right now. 7 live streams. Got scanners in LA, scanners in Philly, scanners out in New York. And then I've also got the FT8 up, the FT8 monitor, and also the slow scan TV monitor for ham radio guys out there. And now we've also got the 7.2 up on the backup channel, Starship Adventures, Starship After Dark. And now we are live with the Sights and Sounds of Earth. That gives us a total of 7 live streams going out. A lot of what I'm doing right now is testing. I'm trying to make sure that you know what I'm going to be able to do here. I can honestly tell you I've found no restrictions on bandwidth. I seem to be able to send out literally as much as I want. As you guys know, the other night we had 8 different monitors up, and of all the monitors that were up, we had 8 different high definition broadcasts going out. 8. And I did a speed test on this computer while it's broadcasting, and I got 900 up and 900 gigs down. So I mean, it's just it's amazing. So it's basically down to the computers that I'm able to put together. You know, what computers am I able to put together, and what can I show? What can I manage to composite and show? Up top, the top left and top center are going to be supposedly protests, although it doesn't look like much is going on right now. But those are all supposedly live. The one that's dark there, center right, is New York. The other 2 are LA. The timing kind of matches. The other one up there, that's Skid Row in LA. And then we've got the that volcano up in Iceland is really going tonight. So I got that one up there as well. We also have one storm chaser out that right now is watching a deer eating out in a field there. You can see that on Radar Omega. And that's the only storm chaser we have out right now. But he's getting some great shots of these deer. Look at that. This is live. Wow. This is up. Where's he at? This is Banner, Wyoming, guys. Banner, Wyoming. This is live. That's pretty cool. Look at that beautiful country. I've never been to Wyoming. They call it Big Sky Country. Or no, that's Montana. Anyway, just ignore me. I'm just sitting here. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. All right, so let's go. Still trying to get a damn chat room up here. I'm almost there. Oh, there we go. Sights and sounds. All right, let's see who we got in tonight. Ding, ding. Welcome, welcome. And Full Clip, thank you for being here tonight. Howdy, howdy. And Lady Hawk, thank you for being here. And we're watching some live shots coming in via Radar Omega of Wyoming. It's a beautiful country out there. We've got a storm chaser that's literally at the beginning of the where the bad weather's going to start, and he is literally out in the middle of freaking nowhere. That's God's country out there. I would love to just have a month out there and enough money to see everything there is to see. It would just be absolutely amazing. All right, so we'll be going through the news here in just a minute. And hello, Heath. How's it going? Okay, you need more audio from me. Let me see what I can do here. Sure. Yeah, I can. How's that? Is that better? That's up about 20% there. Check 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. How does that sound? Is that pretty good? All right, there we go. And the real test. In a world where shit goes crazy. It's almost a grunt. All right, cool. There we go. Much better. All right, there we go. I also got the scanner all set up. I got everything all set up to go there in case we get something we can put up there. And yeah, things are looking all right tonight. We've got a few things going on. There's not a lot going on tonight. I mean, I've been saying that for 3 or 4 nights now, but it's true. We're in a bit of a news lull right now. There is breaking right now. FBI busts a man with 7 homemade bombs. Allegedly, they were intended for a major U.S. city. So this is obviously not good. Well, let me go back. I guess it is good. They got the guy, right? I mean, that's kind of the good thing. They got the guy before he was able to put his evil plan into works. What is this thing doing tonight? Well, I was going to tell you about it. Okay, here we go. Manhattan bomb plot foiled as feds charge New York man with building stashing IEDs across the city. Suspect allegedly placed IEDs on subway tracks and residential rooftops. The New York man is facing federal charges after allegedly building and stashing homemade bombs across Manhattan, including on active subway tracks and residential rooftops. Michael Gann, 55, of Inwood, was charged Tuesday with manufacturing at least 7 improvised explosive devices using chemicals he bought online, according to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton. The safety of New Yorkers is paramount, says Clayton, as if you didn't know that already. As alleged, Michael Gann built explosive devices, stored them on rooftops in Soho, it says, and threw one onto the subway tracks, putting countless lives at risk. Thanks to swift work by our law enforcement partners, no one was harmed. The vigilance assuredly prevented a tragedy in New York, according to Clayton. Authorities say Gann's alleged actions include throwing an IED onto Williamsburg Bridge, subway tracks, and hoarding explosives, some with shotgun shells above Manhattan apartment buildings. He was arrested June 5th with another device on him, officials say, on Instagram on the same day. Gann reportedly posted, "Who wants me to go out and play like no tomorrow?" FBI Assistant Director Christopher Rhea credited the swift partnership between agencies for stopping Gann before he could inflict harm. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch said the coordinated effort intervened before he caused any harm. The case is being prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's National Security and International Narcotics Unit. Gann faces up to 40 years in prison. if convicted. Well, there you go. What a douchebag. Courthouse in Chicago. Stand by. Let me find it. Yeah, I wonder if that's down there by the Cook County Assessor's Office. Name the movie. We're on a mission from God. Armed man prompts Dirksen Federal Building lockdown in downtown Chicago. A standoff continued early Tuesday evening, hours after an armed man prompted a lockdown at the Dirksen Federal Building in downtown Chicago. The building was placed on lockdown shortly after 11 a.m. The FBI confirmed the U.S. Marshals said a man armed with a knife tried to get past security in the building, but was stopped before he could. No civilians in the lobby at the time of the incident. Really? I mean, normally a government building's slap full of people that aren't being served very well. The lobby was cleared and the building was put on lockdown. There was no sound. It was just a light, a flashlight, kind of like a fire alarm, but no sounds, said witnesses. It was a speaker on an intercom. The situation in the lobby, do not leave the room you're in. So basically they did a shelter in place within the building. The standoff with the man has been going on ever since. How long does it take to subdue a man that has a knife? I mean, unless he's got his arm around some woman's neck or something. I mean, come on. ABC News Chicago was able to see the man through the window of the building, pacing and waving his arms, and at times holding a knife off to his neck. Look, if someone threatens their own life, and uses themselves as a hostage, I say take out the hostage. A man who has reported to Dirksen for jury duty on the 23rd floor of the Dirksen Federal Building spoke with CBS News Chicago shortly after 3:30 p.m. and said he and about 40 other prospective jurors were allowed to leave after wondering for hours what was happening in the lobby below. There was a large FBI, SWAT, and Chicago police presence at the scene. It probably looked like the final scenes of the Blues Brothers movie. We got to get to the Cook County Assessor's Office. Let's see here. Jurors will be allowed to leave. Did anybody get that, by the way? I don't think anybody did. The movie is The Blues Brothers, one of my top 10 favorite all-time movies, and I don't know why. I love Belushi and Aykroyd. I love the writing in it. The secondary characters are all great. But The Blues Brothers, what an amazing musical. It's probably the only musical I like. As a matter of fact, I don't call it a musical because I think musicals suck. As a matter of fact, later tonight on my list of things I want to talk about how Star Trek is like throwing one really shitty episode every season. Like last season, it was a musical episode of Star Trek. Really? That's like drinkable bleach. Okay? It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. All right? Goddamn Star Trek Rhapsody. Anyway, we'll get back to that. So what's going on here? FBI agents in tactical gear were also focused for a time on a car near the federal building. Agents broke a window to get into the car and then started searching it. Then they realized it wasn't the right car, and then they're like, oh shit. This is unclear and how the car was connected to the situation, but it damn sure has 4 broken windows now. Law enforcement have blocked off streets around the courthouse, including Dearborn Street between Jackson Boulevard and Adams Street. Along with vehicle traffic, they're also restricting pedestrians from walking near a building. The Dirksen, which is at 219 South Dearborn Street, houses the U.S. District and Bankruptcy Court offices and courts. So there you go. So that is ongoing. I could pull up Chicago scanners, but I'm telling you that there is about 40 active scanner feeds out of Chicago. I'll never find the right one. if they're not even on a scrambled channel. So if it was a smaller place, I would, because like if it's in a small town, then all you got to do is go to the main channel for the police and the fire and the sheriff, and there you go. Everything's right there. But when you literally have a huge, when you literally have a huge 40 or 50 channel footprint on the scanner feed, it's nearly impossible to find it, and you'll spend all night looking for it, and then realize you never could have got it anyway. Hey Victor, thanks for being here. Have you ever had an orange whip? No, I haven't, but I know several people that do. Yeah, I think it's called a, what do they call it, a slick stick or something? It's oh, what do they call that thing? I don't know. It's if I remember correctly, it's a certain kind of antenna you can put on your portable radio that will give you some more gain. It's real thin. They make them in green and yellow and orange and different colors. That might be what you're talking about. My mic volume is still low. Is that what you're telling me, Galactic? Okay. All I hear in my ears is the damn air conditioner, but I can't do anything about that. We're working on some soundproofing for that. All right, I'm up now. That's about 90%. I'm bumping right on the edge of the red right now. So let's try that, and hopefully I didn't blow everybody's ears out. But I'm now at 100% on my Scarlett, and which is my sound card, my production sound card, and I'm now at 100% on the broadcast screen. So that's, as Scotty would say, I'm giving it all I've got, Captain, and that's it. That's all there is. Okay. You think I'm all right now? Okay, that's good. I think I'm good. I've got a little bit different equipment tonight. I'm trying some different audio equipment tonight. I think I sound better. I think the quality of my voice is a little better. Maybe. Could be. Who knows? I'm hoping it sounds better, because I like to get close to the mic sometimes and act like I'm the big voice guy that you hear that says, in a world where the earth has come to an end, in a world where YouTube rules everything. Yes, in a world where every sentence starts with, in a world. If you ever want to see something funny, it's called Four Voice Guys in a Limousine. I don't think I can play it because I'll probably get in trouble, but it's called it's called Four Voice Guys in a Limousine. And it starts off, the limousine stops and picks up the inner world guy, and he gets in a world where I'm taking a limousine to an award show. And then the next guy gets in, he's like, it's a place like no other you've ever seen in your life. And then the next guy gets in, it's like Crazy Town. And it's great because it's like the four big guys that do all of the movie voiceovers. One or two of them's gone now, but this was like 10 years ago. And they're all in the limo together. And what is so neat about it is the fact that they literally do the shtick through the whole thing. They do the limo ride as the four voice guys. And every time it's their turn to talk, it's like another line from a movie trailer. It's like, I wonder if tonight will bring victory and success. You know, it's just, it was just it's a funny piece. If you're into voice guys at all, if you're into voices and that kind of stuff, or even in the movie trailers, some people just love movie trailers. I don't give a shit. I don't even watch movie trailers most of the time, but some people just love them. And I like the voices in them because literally they will spend a lot of money to get the right voice talent for a movie or whatever. We do have a tornado warning out there right now, and it is in Canada, or Canada, however you want to pronounce it. And there you go. I'm going to go ahead and set on the Dryden radar here, and there it is. Let's see, is there anything in there? That's a side by side. Do you see anything in there? I mean, there is a little couplet down here. Yeah, there is a couplet forming. It's about to go outside the warned area, though. They're going to have to reissue this. They're going to have to reissue this to the east. Whoever issued that watch box was drunk. It's not. It's like not even going the right direction. Um, oh, that's right. This is the Canadian Weather Service. I'm sorry. If there's anybody from Canada, I'm sorry. I'm totally kidding, mostly. But yeah, it's like some drunk drew that. It's like, dude, the storm's going this way. it, it's heading towards Ignace or whatever, however you pronounce that. Um, it's leaving Dryden. It's heading away. It's just weird they would issue it like that. That's just kind of a weird spot there. All right. So the top four slivers that you see on the left up there, those are all purportedly protest footage. Although I don't see it. I mean, the center right one up top there is New York. The other three slivers are purported to be in California. Upper right is Skid Row. That's just a roving cam there, and then or a moving cam, I should say, a sweeping cam. And then we've also got Iceland. Iceland, we've got a volcano down there that's pissed tonight, and it's doing its thing. And so we're kind of watching that for any eruption that might go on beyond what we've already got going on there. So, but that's what we've got going on so far tonight. If you guys see anything, please let me know. Please let me know. Oh, the orange whip from the Blues Brothers. Now I get it. Yes, an orange Julius. Yes, made with alcohol. An orange whip. That is such a funny movie. It is. It's a movie that never really got its due. Carrie Fisher is in it. You remember her, Princess Leia? She plays the protagonist. She's like she's Belushi's girlfriend that he didn't go see when he got out of prison, and she's trying to kill him through the whole movie. It is wonderful, and there's a lot of good blues music in it. It's a great, great movie. Ray Charles is in it. Got a great part in it. There's just a lot of great names in it. They go up and see the nun, and every time they cuss, she hits them with the ruler, and every time she hits them with the ruler, they cuss, and that goes on for about 3 minutes. Oh, it's a classic, Arachnid. It's an absolute classic. It's called The Blues Brothers, and it's from the 70s. They're driving around in an old cop car, and it starts out with Jake and Elwood Blues. They're brothers, and one's pulling up and picking up the other one from the prison, and he picks him up in an old cop car. And it starts out with him asking. They drive around for about 10 minutes, and finally he goes, I finally get out of prison and you come pick me up in a cop car. I love the Chicago accent. I've never even been to Chicago. And you know where I learned the Chicago accent? This is a funny one. You know where I learned the Chicago accent? I don't learn accents or voices like when I do people's voices. Like, I don't, if I want to do Bill Clinton, I don't watch Bill Clinton. I was like Bill Clinton. You know, I don't watch him to do Bill Clinton. I watch someone else doing Bill Clinton. I'm working on a Trump right now that we got a guy at work, really good. He's our morning show guy. And he's got it going on, and he does it all really low, and I'm trying to work on that. I learn how to do voices, and I learn how to do accents, not from watching people who are actually doing the voices or the accent. I do it by watching people who are doing it well, like Dana Carvey. He was my mentor years ago. I used to believe that Dana Carvey was one of the best talents when it came to voices. When it just doing voices, it was definitely Dana Carvey, one of the best. And I remember the show where Phil Hartman did Bill Clinton, and Dana Carvey did both H. Ross Perot and he did H.W. Bush, or Bush Sr. And it would go over to Bush Sr. and he'd be like, well, we just did that. And then he'd go over to Ross Perot, and they literally had to record one and play and do the other one live. So the two live guys, Phil Hartman and Dana Carvey, playing playing Bush, had to also play off a video that was playing of Dana Carvey doing H. Ross Perot, because he did a great H. Ross Perot. He'd be like, I got charts and graphs. I'm going to get up there with my charts and my graphs, and I'm going to explain to you why the world turns around the way it does. Because I know these things, because I am H. Ross Perot. And then he would go to, then Phil Hartman would do, well, and he would do Bill Clinton, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I didn't do it. And then we'd go over to Bush and we'd be like this, and it was just so good. And I learned from him how to do voices. And so now if I want to do a voice, I have to find someone that does that voice really well and then study them. I don't know if that's considered cheating. I really don't care. But, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that worked or not. I don't know. I like doing voices on the radio. I don't do, like, I don't know. There's some I can't get, like Trump I'm having a hard time with. There was some like Biden I never did. I never really had that one down, but there was ones like Bill Clinton I've done for years, I used to do a damn good Ronald Reagan. I did a lot of older ones. Like, I used to be able to do the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. I do, that's weird, wild stuff. And then you have the, yes, and have the Ed McMahon part and the whole thing. I used to actually do like some comedic stuff, and voices was one of the things I would do. I also, and I wish I had a tape of this because I would never do it today, but I used to come out as part of my routine. And every year I would do it at the fire station. I had several other places. And I would come out with a guitar with no strings on it, and I would play a full set of Garth Brooks. I had the blue shirt, I had the black hat, I had the boots and the jeans, and the big belt buckle with my initial in the middle. And I'd come walking out on the stage, and I would sing it. It wasn't karaoke. It wasn't lip syncing. It was karaoke. I would actually sing the part. But the guitar, I'm playing the guitar, but there's no strings on it. It's all just for show. And I used to love doing stuff like that. It was just a lot of fun to be able to entertain people and see them laughing and having a good time. And then I'd invite people up on stage, and we'd all sing the song together and stuff. But I would never get out of character. I would stay in character until I got off the stage, and then I would start working on my next character. Yes, I used to do Cheech and Chong. I used to do all of them. I do a lot of different voices. Hey, man, you know what I mean? I'll tell you, a lot of voices I do are like, I used to do a crazy Beavis and Butthead that was really good. Oh, I need to beep my bunghole. I used to love doing Beavis and Butthead. Hey, Beavis. And of course, South Park. I can do a lot of the voices on South Park. I find South Park to be a really cool time. There you go, Galactic. It's always a good time. But yeah, South Park's a good one. Like, hey you guys. Hey, screw you guys. I'm gonna, hey. I love Eric Cartman, that little smart-ass little bastard. I just think he's so funny. And that show is probably my favorite non-science fiction show. And I just love doing all the voices on there. Howdy-ho. Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. I mean, come on, you gotta love the classics, right? I know you guys watch South Park, right? I mean, come on. Gotta have some South Park in there. Yeah, so I do, when it comes to voices and things like that, I really do like to, I do like to do voices. The problem is As I get older, I'm not as good at it. I can't pick them up as easy. I lose them easier. Um, Drugs are bad. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Mackey. Mr. Mackey. Okay. Um, yeah. All right, let me check here and make sure I'm getting all the chats that are coming in. The first thing I ever heard of South Park was the Christmas Classics album. Somebody brought it into work at the fire station, and I was on duty. And we went over to the record player. I think it was a record. No, it was a tape. It was an 8-track tape. And it was a dub that this guy had made. And he stuck it in the 8-track, and we sat there and we howled and listened to. In one of them, it was Jesus and Santa Claus doing like a stand-up, like a nightclub routine, you know, and it was hilarious. And there was some really raunchy, nasty shit on there. And I can remember telling myself, that's some of the most off-color, disgusting shit I've ever heard. Where can I get more? Rocky movies, not necessarily. No, my brother was into the Rocky movies. I like Stallone. Okay, in South Park, Sylvester Stallone, he walks up in South Park, and he goes, and then this guy walks up from behind him and says, "Hi, I'm his interpreter. Mr. Stallone would like to know if you have any rooms available in town." I love that. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's so funny. That's just hilarious. I think they did the same thing with Ozzy, God rest his soul. Is it too soon to say that? Woo. Let's see. I'm trying to get some live video out of Chicago. See what the hell's going on at the federal building there.
And took the man in his.
Okay. Sources tell I-Team. Here's the Fox 32 Chicago live stream. Let's see what they got going on. What's going on? And the famous words of, oh, what was his name? What you talking about, Willis? Remember that show? I loved that show. We watched that when we were kids. Different Strokes was the name of the show. Oh, good, they're showing an ad. Oh, I'm going to start that yawning shit again. Get y'all yelling at me. Oh, Victor, I haven't really started looking yet. I've got all the money together except one more thing I've got to pick up tomorrow, I think. But by this weekend, I'm probably going to buy something within the next week. And I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going to do. I think this is important. I've got more time on my hands in a way. I'm a little more flexible now. I'm going to be doing basically just a lot of this by myself. And so what I'm going to do is I'm getting this car. It's going to be a decent car, something I can travel a little bit with. And I'm already looking at equipment to go in it. I'm going to get some bright lights to go on the grill in the front of it. I'm going to get 2 or 3 permanent like camera racks that I can screw into it and actually have them positions so you guys can see everything. And I'm going to set it up for storm chasing basically, and also to provide live coverage of whatever's going on, whatever it is. And then when I go up to Georgia, when I'm here, whatever, wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing, I've got this car all set up where I just jump in. I can throw the cameras in the mounts real quick. I've got, I'll have an HF and a VHF, UHF radio mounted with the antennas already on there. I'll have a little mini yellow light bar that can go on the roof that's already hooked up to a switch. And it'll be all ready to go so that when we get to the point where there's something going on out there that I want to go and chase and bring to you guys live, we can do that. And that's basically what we're doing. Well, it's not going to be a new car. I'm going to have about $6,000 cash to put down, and I'm not making payments. So I'm buying the car outright. So it's not going to be a new car. Yeah, maybe a 79 Gremlin is kind of what I'm looking at. No, I can probably do better than that. Yeah, I'm going to put more equipment in the car. The problem we have down here, Victor, I'm going to be honest with you, is it's so hot. Things like binoculars and radio, two-way radios, like handhelds with batteries, anything with batteries, you got to keep that in a go bag, and you got to take it with you when you go. You can't leave it in the car down here. That car gets 135 degrees inside every single day, and it stays that way for hours, and it cooks these little batteries to death. And although a mobile radio is designed to handle it, these batteries are not. So anything that takes a battery has to go in a go bag, and it has to go by the door, and then you just grab that and take it with you. Yeah, a Ford Pinto, or maybe a Dodge Omni 024, or perhaps maybe a Chevy Chevette. Yeah, any of those are great choices. I'm also looking at maybe a tan and color Geo Metro. Those are really nice. And there's just so many options out there. So many options when it comes to nice cars. But I'm just mostly sticking to what I can afford, you know. Rent from Enterprise. No way. I don't rent. I don't do insurance. I'm weird about insurance. I buy my cars outright. I save up my money, and I walk into a buy here, pay here, or I walk in. I'm going to do Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and I'm going to see if I can buy a car. Normally, if you walk into a buy here, pay here with $6,000 in cash, they will rip your damn arm off. They'll do anything to get that money out of your pocket, including put you in a decent car. So, yeah, Galactic, I've seen none of those cars here either. I was just trying to come up with the worst cars from the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually going to have some magnetic signs to go on the back doors that just says, it'll say like storm chase vehicle, and then on the second line it will say hurricane, or it'll say Starship Adventures and have the YouTube symbol. It'll say at Starship Adventures with the YouTube symbol. And the top line will just be black letters that say it's storm chase vehicle. And that way I'm identified as what I'm doing. And when I get one, I put them on. If they fly off, they fly off. These new ones do pretty good. So I won't be doing a wrap. The wraps don't last down here in Florida. They're not even getting a year out of these wraps, and they look like shit. Yeah, Red, if I can buy a vehicle outright, I do, because then I can put the absolute bare minimum insurance. Insurance has never helped anybody, okay? They want to charge my mother $4,000 or $5,000 a year for flood insurance. Had she bought flood insurance for the 55 years she's owned the house, prorated out, I'm not adding up 1 year 50 times. I'm saying prorated out, starting back when it was only $50 a year or $100 a year. When you prorate it out and you look at it, she would have paid almost $300,000 for insurance over all these years, or $200,000 for insurance over all these years, and she never did, never could afford it. They had homeowners insurance, but not flood. And so when the flood finally came after 55 years, the flood finally came. And it came and it flooded the house right up to the light switches, ruined everything. And FEMA gave her $45,000. We put the house back together with family labor. And there you go. Had she paid for insurance all that time, the payout would have been $75,000. She would have paid over $200,000 over all those years for insurance. And the payout for her would have been $75,000. She got 45 from FEMA, and that was enough to put it back by not using a contractor. So I don't see where insurance would have made anything better for them, because 75,000 would not have put it back using a contractor and getting the permits and putting it back to spec and all that. It wouldn't have done it. So yes, as far as branding and merch, yes, I'm going to. I need to get a good following going first. I've already got merch all laid out already, to be honest, shirts and hats and all that bullshit. But I feel it's a little presumptuous to put that out yet. But soon, within a few months, let's get some more people coming in. You know, let's get to where I'm holding a crowd of 100 people here, and then I'll start releasing some merch. I've got some neat ideas for some really cool merchandise too. I mean, like out of the box type weird stuff, not just your typical, hey, look, it's my logo on a cotton T-shirt. I mean, I've got some neat stuff I'm thinking about doing, and I think you guys will like it. I do. So we'll give that. Let that breathe for a little bit. But I am going to do it. And like I said, I've already put some work into it. I just don't have it all completely set up yet. All right, looks like one of those videos, of course, is dropped off, and they're not showing anything on here, of course. Let's go back to here and see if I can pull up anything on here that's live from Chicago. Working on a number of things here. We are actively right now. We are working on getting that live stream system set up to where it'll record the scanner traffic and play it back in order. And that way you never miss anything and nothing's ever overlapping. We are working on that system. It's literally almost done. We're going to be testing it out here in the next few days. So that is going to really be cool. I think that's going to be a great asset. I really do. Nope, I don't see anything here. Still kind of surprises me how hard it is to find news feeds that are new. Well, that's nothing. Okay. That's awesome. Nope. Nope. Okay. I tried. Nothing there. I don't think there's anything to show because the guy's inside the building, and I think that's all there is. All right. Oh, looks like we lost both of those upper ones there. Let's see if there's anything else that's come up.
And what started as a rally for a hospital chaplain recently detained by ICE turns into a clash on one of Cincinnati's iconic landmarks. Thanks a lot for joining us here at 11. I'm Mike Dardis.
Yeah, whatever. What gets me is that I don't understand how there's a lot of protests that go on every day, but it's not being live streamed. And I'm wondering why that is. I'm wondering if people are having an issue with getting bandwidth out, or because it just doesn't seem it doesn't seem right to me. It seems like, because even in years past, when there was something going on, there was 50 people live streaming it. Yes, we could do wildlife feeds. I mean, I could do those. I'm trying to stick to news and current events and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, my wife actually, Carlotta, actually does that. She likes to do wildlife cams and go around and check all the wildlife cams out. She also does bar cams. There's some pretty cool bar cams out there, and you can see the drunk idiots getting ejected from the bars and stuff. It's kind of fun. So I mean, there's a lot of different things we can do out there. I'm just trying to stick to more the news and current event type thing. God, there's so many spoof channels out here, spoofing channel. These videos are weeks and weeks old, and they're still being put up as if they're a new video. Of course, I really hate that. I almost feel like I need to go on a crusade or something. I'll just end up getting my own channel shut down and shit. There's a lot of streams up tonight, but they're all old. Rise Images, showing a video of those autonomous cars burning. What was that, a month ago? It's terrible. I just hate that. A lot of these are foreign channels. Have you guys ever noticed that they don't want you to ever like filter what you're doing with like just what's in your country? I know there's reasons on the internet that makes it difficult to do that, because people use servers that are overseas and things like that, but I just keep thinking that, wouldn't it be better if you could just click a button and for this evening we're not going to go anywhere but things in the country. I just want to stay in the country. You know, I know it's probably too late to even do something like that, but it just seems like that would be the better deal. And so many people showing, even like the street cams out of Philly and stuff. It's dark there now. It's dark in Philadelphia right now. They're showing live video and the sun's still up. So they're lying. Liars, liars, lying liars. There, I said it. I feel better now. My God, there's 1,000 videos on here. And they're nearly all worthless. Oh, crap. Well, we got our host is back today. He had a little vacation, but he's back today. You know, I've gotten to where I'm spoiled. I like to have my regular host. I'm not a big fan of the whole guest host thing. I do it, but um, no, Victor. I haven't played a game of chess in about 25 years. I really, since Al Gore invented the internet, I haven't played chess. But I used to enjoy it. Yeah, I just cashed in a bunch of silver. It was at 38.80, I think. I probably could have waited another week, but I was down in that town. I just needed to get it done. So, thank you, Ding Ding. Yeah, I could have waited it out. I mean, I think silver's going to maybe break 40. But I'm only, it wasn't cashing in that much, so it's not like I'm cashing in everything. It just was enough to add to what I have for this car. I'm just trying to get a car. I really, really, really want to. I really want to get this thing going to where I can jump in the car and just take off and go do stuff and show you guys things. Do some touring and things like that around here. There's a lot of neat stuff to see in this town, and the problem is most people don't, you don't normally get to see it because, you don't come here or whatever. And I think I would like to start showing you guys things when I go places and stuff. I think it would be great. And this van I've had this van for years, and it's gotten to the point where I don't drive it unless I absolutely have to. Well, that kind of screws up everything, doesn't it? So it's gonna be nice to have a vehicle I can just jump in and drive. We've managed to get years out of this van longer than we thought we would. The engine's been making a noise for a while, and we just keep putting thick ass oil in it and driving it like a little baby. This is boring. I can't find anything to put up. John Breaks Bad News. That's the name of his show and his channel. John Breaks Bad News. He specializes in bad news. Do you have bad news? Give John a call. John specializes in bad news. That's the good news. Ugh. Well, let me see. Oh, that's just awesome. There's not a single feed for Chicago Standoff that's live. Nothing. And it's probably because there's nothing to show. This guy's inside the building. They've got the building evacuated. And they'll wait his ass out till he gets hungry. He'll eventually get hungry. Yeah, this is CBS News Chicago. So, okay, so the entire NFL against just Ditka by himself on the field. Oh, Bob, I definitely say Ditka by 12 points. You guys remember that? One of my favorite. Saturday Night Live used to be so good. It sucks now. It's garbage. But there was a time when Saturday Night Live was good. The first 10 years, the third 10 years were really good. As I call it, the Aykroyd-Belushi years, and then the Hartman Dana Carvey years with Chris Farley. Chris Farley, one of the best ever, One of the best sketches ever was the motivational speaker, and Chris Farley would come in, and he's the motivational speaker, and he would come in and talk to your kids, and he'd go, "Listen to what I'm saying, or you'll be living in a van down by the river." And then it comes out through the thing that he's actually living in his van down by the river. But he's the motivational speaker that you've hired to talk to your kids. Oh, Christ. Some of that, Saturday Night Live had some of the funniest sketches ever. Yeah, 2008's a little older than I'm looking for. But not much. I mean, I'm probably going to end up at something that's about 10 or 12, 13 years old, in that range. My van is a 2007, so I'm definitely trying to get to do better than that. Gloria from Cleveland. That's the Next Generation. I think the episode's called The Big Goodbye. And the line was spoken by Whoopi Goldberg. She joins Picard on the holodeck. Yes, I know my Star Trek. I'm not sure about the episode name, but I think it's called The Big Goodbye or something like that. Because she's a Lorian. She's not from Earth. But he tells her, when you come to the holodeck, dress like this and tell everybody that you're Gloria from Cleveland. So she tells everybody, I'm Gloria from Cleveland. It was just a funny scene. I'm not a big Whoopi Goldberg fan, but I'm a huge Guinan fan, if that makes any sense. I loved her as Guinan, and I've loved her in a few of the movies that she did. I'll just leave it there. George Carlin. I love George Carlin. It's the 7 dirty words. We talk about that at work a lot. There's only like 3 now. C, F, and S. But yeah, back then there was 7 dirty words that you couldn't say on the TV or the radio. And yeah. There's weird rules, like you can say ass and you can say hole, but you can't say asshole. Or at least you're not supposed to. We've been doing it lately. You can say dick and you can say head, but you can't say dickhead. It's just weird things like that, you know. It's stupid thing. And then, of course, just the straight out words, like the C word, the F word, the S word, they're completely out. Now, like, you could say pussycat, or you could say, you know, this, but you can't say that guy's a pussy. Yeah, they really don't. They don't like that one upstairs, and you know, there's just certain things. I got a dump button. I got 2 5-second dumps at work, and I use them. We dump sometimes. I dumped twice the other day, and a bad word still partially got on the air. So someone was using a racial slur as part of a longer word, and part of that got on the air, and I was not happy because I pride myself in keeping those few things off the air. They let us say anything we want. You know, my bosses upstairs have not come down once and said, hey, we want you guys to talk more about this and maybe not talk about that as much. They don't do that. Every now and then they say, hey, quit calling people dicks. That's too much. But, you know, for the most part, you know, radio is up to the host. The host is in charge. It's his show. The producer is second in command. He and the producer and the host, they sit down and put that show on every day. And you don't get near as much management as you would think you do. We've got a great station program director at work, and we've got a great owner of our station, and they treat us very well, and they leave us alone, and they let us create and do our job, and that's what it's all about. It's all about, you know, putting on a show, and also if you can entertain people while you're educating people, then that's a win for everybody involved. Yeah, Ding, people never like the guest hosts. You know why? Because they're the guest hosts. I mean, nobody ever likes the substitute teacher, right? But yet they think they can get away with everything. And yeah, we had, was it the black guy that was all like yelling at him? Was that the one you heard? Because that guy calls every so often. He's a great caller. He's actually a pretty nice guy, but he just likes to. He's just got some pretty strong opinions about how the whole thing works. We put everybody on, though. We don't screen our calls. If you call up and say, I think that guy's a raging asshole on the air and I want to talk to him, okay, and we highlight it because he wants conflict. He likes it. He likes to debate. Him and I were both on debate team growing up, so we love to debate. Let's go. Let's do it. And most people won't call because they don't. They're ill prepared. Let me just put it that way. Oh God. Yeah, I miss old George Carlin. I didn't necessarily align with him politically all the time, but I will say that I agreed with most of what he said. He actually had a truth about things. Yeah, he did. He handled it well. We had 3 different guest hosts over these 3 days that my host was off, and they all 3 did well. They were all 3 had very different styles, but they did well. So one of our big fill-in hosts is not available for a few months, and another one of our fill-in hosts was just hired as our morning show guy. So we're actually like literally setting up a list of some new fill-in people. It's you got to find somebody that's good, but not better than your host. And you got to find somebody that's the same basic pacing and the same kind of style that you get. You don't want to get a guy with a very different pacing and style and then throw him on there on an afternoon drive show and have him just bomb it out. We've got a bit of an upbeat tone. We're a little bit naughty. We say things we're probably not supposed to say. That's kind of we're like I don't. My host doesn't like when I say this, but he's kind of like the Howard Stern of politics. I mean, he's got the woman sitting on a speaker and he's going, but yet we're doing politics. I'm not a big Stern fan, but he's a great radio guy, and I really respect him. And I'll tell you what, his movie is in my top 25. I know you're going to find that crazy, because I'm not even that big of a Stern fan. I'm not really big on the genre, but I am very big on him. He's a very talented guy. What I like about him, though, more than anything else, is that freaking movie he made. That movie was a lot of fun. And what was neat about that movie, I watched that movie at the fire station years ago when it first came out. And I watched that movie, and it was funny. We thought it was funny. We all laughed. And then guess what? I got into radio. And then I watched that movie again after I got into radio, and it's 5 times better. It is so awesome. When he's in Pig Vomit's office, and he's like, God damn it, Howard, shit, Howard. I find that to be so funny that I watched an interview with Howard Stern not long ago, and he said that he remained friends with that guy that played Pig Vomit in the movie. They become buddies after those scenes that they did together. But I love some of the stuff they did in there, like blank, a doodle-doo. What do you got, Jim? I wrote down a big cock. I got a big cock here. It's funny. I mean, it's just, it is really fun radio because, you're saying naughty things, but you're not, that kind of stupid shit. It always has worked in radio. But yeah. Anyway, that's another great movie. I want to do a movie night. I've got a list of like my top 40 movies. And I would like to do, one night I'm going to come in here. And just, I want to run down the movies in order from 40 down to 1 and do them all. My problem is if you throw in all the Star Trek movies, and you throw in all the sci-fi movies, that's most of my list, unfortunately. So what I do is I have a list, and then I broke out the list into science fiction and non-science fiction, because it's really not fair. Because I really, really, really am into science fiction movies. That's what I'm actually into most of the time. So yeah, I have not been happy with Stern over the years, and some of his decisions. I think he's a bit of a sellout on a few things. Um, don't align with him politically at all, really. But again, I look at him as a singular talent in radio, and um, the radio that we listen to today, whether you listen to NPR or Fox News, it doesn't matter. The radio you listen to today, and the way it sounds and the way it works, there's two men, more than anybody else, there's two men, whether you like them or not, that have given us radio such as we have it today. And that's Howard Stern and Rush Limbaugh. God rest his soul. And so these two people, uh, they were the ones that did it first. I mean, they were the ones that were wildly successful at it first. Two separate genres, obviously. One was a pop culture and shock host, and the other one was political commentary. But both produced a product that quickly rose to the number one show in the world. They both held that spot. And they both, in different ways, doing different shows, they basically laid the groundwork for what is today talk radio, which is one of the biggest radio genres that there is. Our station down here, we get over 100,000 listeners a night on our station. It's huge. When you're sitting at a traffic light at 5 o'clock, at 5:05, when you're sitting at a traffic light in this county, um, 1 out of every 10 cars is listening to us. We get a 10 share, roughly, and that's an amazing share. And with a town like ours, I mean, that's really good. And so when you're looking at radio and you're looking at the way radio works and all that, I really have a lot of reverence for people like Howard Stern and Rush Limbaugh. Whether you like what they talked about or not, put that aside for a minute, okay? I know there's people on both sides of it out there. And yes, there is others out there that are almost as notable. Art Bell being another one. Even the person that came after him, George Norrie, I think is a great radio host. There's a few others on conservative talk radio that I think have been very big over the years. But radio has come a long way. I mean, coast to coast, there's a phenomenon. You know, there's a radio show that started out on a private transmitter in Pahrump, Nevada, being broadcast out along the desert on amplitude modulation, or AM, and it spawned into one of the largest radio phenomenons there's ever been. I think Coast to Coast still to this day is on in more countries and more towns around the world than any other radio show. Now, it doesn't have the same audience as a daytime show would, because obviously it's the middle of the night, um, but yeah, I mean, it's the Coast to Coast has been a phenomenon for many years, and it still is. It'll be on tonight at 1 o'clock here in the East. It comes on at an hour later, I guess. Or no, it would actually be an hour earlier. It comes on at midnight in the Central Time Zone, and then it comes on at 10 p.m. out in California. So it's more of a late evening show in California. It's an overnight show here. They're on so many radio stations. I think last I checked it was over 600. Let's see. Yeah, more than 600 stations in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and Guam. The show's hosted by George Norrie. It's also broadcast over the world on internet streams, and I'm sure it's broadcast in other countries too, either legally or illegally. So it's everywhere. It's everywhere you want to be, and of course, it's on the internet too. I the coast to coast is what got me into radio. We used to listen to Coast to Coast on the way back to the station. Our district was so big, we were covering about 50 square miles, 60 square miles of another county. And it was out in the middle of nowhere. And we would get these calls in the middle of the night, and we would run all the way out there, lights and siren. Truck only does 70 miles an hour. And we would drive all the way out to these calls, and then we would clear the call, and we would have a 35-minute drive back to the station, 40-minute drive. And we're telling the chief, look, we're getting up in the middle of the night. We're driving to this call. We help this guy. He's having a heart attack. We get him in the ambulance. He leaves, and now we've got a 35-minute drive. I said, we're falling asleep in the cab. And he said, if you can find a way to make sure that I never hear that radio on the two-way radio, I'll authorize it. And so I found an old radio mic rocker. Those of you who are hams, you'll appreciate this. Motorola for years had grounded mic rockers, and when you hung the mic up, it would ground out the wire, and it would let the radio know that the mic was in the rocker and to turn the PL on. And then when you would pull the mic off the rocker, it would turn the PL off, so that way you could hear if there was anybody else on the frequency. Okay, it was something you were supposed to have way back when, and it was built into the microphone rockers. Anyway, I found one of those rockers, and I hooked up the negative feed that went to the four speakers that we mounted. The four speakers we mounted in the ceiling have a negative, and I ran that negative feed down to that mic rocker. So as soon as you lifted the mic off the rocker to talk, the AM/FM radio would stop playing. You wouldn't hear it anymore because the speakers would lose their ground, and that's it. They wouldn't play. And then as soon as you would get done talking to Lead Control, we'd stick the mic back on the rocker, and the radio would start to play again. And once we got that, it wasn't long before we found Coast to Coast. And every night a lot of times we would sit out in the bay in the middle of the night, playing cards, smoking cigars, and listening to Art Bell on Coast to Coast, talking about aliens or ghosts or something fun. Yeah. Yeah, I never actually, I don't do a lot of cover-to-cover reading on political books. I read scientific books. I read books about mysteries like the Monuments of Mars, and I've read some of Richard C. Hoagland's stuff. I do like to, I used to read Star Trek novelizations, was my big thing. Then I got away from that. I got into more scientific type stuff. But I do not read politics. So I hate to admit it, I've never read any of those guys' books. They got an AI that writes books now, and I'm so tempted. I am so tempted to write a book about my life and micro-publish it. The AI will do it. You have to build in all the 200 characters, and you have to build in the timeline of what happens, and you have to build in the individual stories, and then the thing writes the damn book for you. And I'm Rupal Kapla Jaknesh. Good evening. Glad you could make it. Glad everybody's here tonight. We're just hanging out in here, It's kind of a slow night, so we're just hanging out. If anybody sees anything, come up and let me know, because it's hard to talk and also look for things going on at the same time. Yep, and Coast to Coast is currently, and has been for many years, the most listened to overnight radio show, and it's syndicated on more channels than just about any, if not any other show in the world. So Definitely some record breaking stuff there with Coast to Coast AM. I will admit I listened to it about 2 weeks ago. I was up in the middle of the night. I listened to it for a little while. George is sounding old. I feel so bad. I'm like, oh boy. I hadn't heard him in a few years, and then I pull it up, and now when I listen to him, he sounds old, and I'm like, everybody I know is getting old. I don't know what the hell's happening. It's bullshit. Uh, I interviewed George Norrie myself on our show. I got a 14-minute interview with him where I got to ask him questions about doing his show, and it was a great interview, and I had a great time, and probably one of the better interviews I ever got to do. So anyway, yeah, Aquarius, that sounds weird the way you wrote that. I know what you mean, though. It just sounds weird the way you wrote it, but I know what you mean. I know you didn't mean it that way. Yeah, I think you should tell your story. I think it should get out there, and when you do it, let me know, and we'll put out the link here. Because I think it's important to tell our stories, and I've got a few stories I'll tell over time. I've got some pretty neat stories. I read a book one time. It was called 10-8, and it was given to me by a friend of mine. It was a state trooper, and he gave it to me, and I read it. It was my bathroom book for a while, and I read it cover to cover. And I passed it on to another deputy that was a friend of mine that I worked with at the sheriff's department. And he read it cover to cover, and he passed it on to another cop. So it was one of those books where it's been around a while, and it's gone from person to person to person. And all this book was it was a collection of small stories, and most of the stories were under one page, or maybe a page, or maybe 2 pages at the very most. I don't think there was any story in there that was more than 2 or 3 pages long. And a lot of them were simply 2 or 3 sentences, and then it would say 10-8, and then there would be another short story. And some pages would have 2 or 3 of these little stories, and other pages would have, say, 1. Anyway, you would read this, and some of it was like just funny anecdotes, like you think you're having a bad day, and then I pulled up on this call one night, and this was happening to this guy, and he got stuck face down in this thing, and and it's just like a little short story. And then the next one was, one time we were sitting around a station in the middle of the night, and we started smelling smoke, and and he basically would just tell all these little short stories of things that both he or others that he was working with saw or observed or witnessed while they were on the job. And it was, I don't know, it was a really neat book, and I keep thinking I've got enough stories to write that book myself. I mean, I know I've got enough stories to write that book myself, and to write a similar book and just put that these are my stories and the stories I've been told from others, and then just go through and do them all like that. The other thing I've been interested in is something that's coming up real soon in the AI world is the ability to make our own television shows and stuff. That stuff is so close. It's literally just a year or 2 away. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but we're going to be able to I want you to think about this. I got this whole collection of books up here, Star Trek novels. Probably 300 or 400 of them. We will be able to, in the next few years, take those novels and feed them into AI and just make them into television shows. And it will make everything. It'll make up all the CGI, it'll make up all the live action scenes, and it'll make up the music, and it'll make up everything. Within a few years, we're almost there. And so what that basically means is that I can now go write my own Star Trek novelization and turn it into an episode. And then that's my creative work, and then I can then release that. Of course, I can't charge for it because it's built into a genre of a show that's copyrighted. But as long as I follow Paramount's rules with making fan films, you could still do it. But the point is people are going to start making their own TV. Hollywood is about to come to an end. You know, between the unions and California going to hell in a handbasket and everything else, and the cost of just cost overruns of everything, and I mean, Hollywood is literally ruined itself along the way. But I'm telling you guys, the entire way movies are made is changing. The entire way that we are entertained is changing. And what you're going to see is a transition away from large studios. And you're going to see a transition to two different things. One, artificial intelligence created television shows and movies. And you're going to see what this is here, micro broadcasting. You're going to see people with personal studios putting out personal content. And I think that's going to be the other side of it. So anyway. All right, but that I figured, yeah, Hollyweird. I don't care. I don't care. You know, there's been actors I like over the years and certain movies I like and things like that, but I'm not one of these over the moon people for Hollywood. It's a pain in the ass. The whole thing, just a pain in the ass. Anyway, the next thing I wanted to discuss with you guys, and I'm going to be going pretty soon. The yawning is it's starting to bother me. But anyway, I'm going to take a few more minutes here. I'm going to show you something I got today. I got this at Walmart for $10, and I like to do like unboxings and just to see what's in here. I haven't opened it up yet. It is basically what it is. It's called a. Here, let me get this on here. Oh, let me do this other one here. Oh, there we go. So what it basically is you can see there, it's On, which is a brand that I'm starting to have a lot of respect for. It's a fairly inexpensive brand. It's a neon flex rope. And I'm like, I've never seen one of these. I've never played with one. And I love little stuff like this. I can't help it. So I figured, well, I guess I'll just buy this, and then we'll open it up tonight and see what it does. And like always, they've got it set up to where you have to destroy the box to get into it. There's no other way around it. So it comes in like a package. I'm sorry, guys. That was, again, the yawning. I'm going to end up losing the rest of my audience over it. But this basically, it's in a bag. Here we go. Okay. So we got a remote control. Well, that's a nice one too. Comes with it comes with like the rainbow remote and the batteries, and it comes with the plug, and here's the here it is. I love this kind of stuff. I can't get enough of this stupid shit. It's even got little Velcro strappy things that I'll put in my I got a little box that just has all the little wire ties and little Velcro ties and all that kind of stuff in it. But what this is it's like thick. See what I mean? It's like, you know what it's like? You know what this is like? It's like a cat flea collar. It feels just like, it's like an oversized flea collar is what it is. But it's also got, it's got like sticky. You can pull the sticky off and stick it on the wall, and you can like spell out your signature or something with it. And I thought, well, I see about that. That might be pretty cool. If nothing else, I'll just put it in the background back here and see what it looks like. But it plugs into standard USB. The good news about standard USB, and there's bad news about standard USB. The good news is it's standard USB. That's really cool. It works on any standard USB. The bad news is they no longer send you a wall bowl anymore. You have to find your own power. Have you guys noticed that? The last 5 or 6 things now that I've purchased, that are USB power, they they have a wall mole. They don't have a wall mole anymore. You know, the thing that plugs into the wall. Anyway, I like this. This is pretty cool. There's like a metal wire in here, so you can kind of form it to be how you want. Like I said, this was only $10. Not that bad. And I'm always looking for fun things to go in the background here in the studio. And I thought, you know, this would be kind of cool. Yeah. So I allowed myself a toy today. You know, I don't have kids, so I'm the kid when I go to Walmart. I have to tell myself no. But anyway, so this is, let's see here. There you go. It does all the colors. Look at that shit. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, it looks like it does all kinds of stuff. Oh, it chases and everything. So these are, what's cool about this, these are individually addressable LEDs, which means that the colors will chase. It's not on the cheaper ones. On the cheaper ones of these, what you'll find is the whole thing will be red, the whole thing will be green, the whole thing will be blue. With this, these are actually individually addressable. This also has sound. You can turn on the sound, and it will go. It'll change according to the sounds that it hears. And it's got all kinds of different modes. Oh, there we go. That's called annoying mode. Wow, that's pretty cool. So I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. I haven't figured it out, but I'll put it back here somewhere. Oh my God, that's candy. You can't see it in the camera, but that's candy cane mode. It's like red and white. It's wrapped. Candy cane mode. It's got Halloween mode, which is purple and orange. I don't know what is that. Oh, it's an American flag, red, white, and blue. There you go. There's a red, white, and blue mode. And it's got a birthday mode. That's green and red. Oh, I guess that's Christmas mode. That's pretty cool, though. It's a neat little remote. It gives you all kinds of different, you know, different things you can set, different things you can do with it. Anyway, I just thought you guys would find that neat. Do a little unboxing there and check that thing out. I thought it was pretty cool. All right, so there you go. That's ONN. I got it at Walmart, and it was $10. $10. All right. Whew. What else is going on out there? Let me look here. Ding, I do have a number of older ones. Yeah, I guess I do. But that's only because I'm, you know, a bit of a electronics hoarder. Wow, look at that. He has gone into a fog bank. Our storm chaser up here has gone into a fog bank. Wow. He is in Dayton, Wyoming, and he is socked in. Wow. Seizure mode. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Aquarius, I'm pretty much a loner. Carlotta and I hang out and stuff, but she's pretty much a loner, and so am I. And I've never officially been married, nor have I wanted to be really. And the truth is I've never wanted children. I knew when I was 10 years old I didn't like children. I didn't like children. They all have a particular odor and they all make noise. And I never liked children. My mother used to laugh because I never wanted to be with the children. I wanted to hang out with the adults. I wanted to sit in the living room and talk to the adults about things, and that's what I wanted to do. I was one of those kids, and I kind of was like a nerd. I didn't want to be with the other kids. And then as I got into my later teens, I started verbalizing to my mother. I'd tell her, I don't want children. I don't like children. I don't even want to be around children. I feel uncomfortable around children. I don't like them. And she would tell me, son, you don't have to have children. And I never did. I never did. I never wanted them, and I never had them. And you know what? I don't regret that. I really don't. If you don't want kids, God bless, don't have them. If you want them, have them. They're free. Well, at least they're free to make. It gets pretty expensive after the making part, though. Yeah. So it is what it is. I don't want kids, and then I still don't want kids. Um, Carlotta's grandchild, which I consider my grandchild, is here, and I like him. I love him to death. I love taking care of him, but I don't want my own kids. I skipped kids. I went right to grandkids. Yeah, cats are my kids. I love cats. I take care of cats. I got lots of cats. I love cats. They're my thing. I know. It's whatever it is. It is what it is. Yep. God bless all the moms. Yeah, I mean, and my mama kitties too. They always end up having a litter with me before I can catch them and get them fixed. Well, that's it. I don't see a lot going on storm-wise out here. Nothing there. Nope. We do have an area that in the yellow here that's a slight chance for something, but really not. Nothing's coming up. Yep, I don't know, it's like a weird thing with me. I've always wanted to be around adults, and when I was 14, 15, 16, I wanted to sit there with adults and have conversations about science and about the weather and about work and what they did for work. And I was very inquisitive. I always had 50 questions for people, and I was always very inquisitive and wanted to know more. I did a lot of talking. I did a lot of listening. I was a conversationalist. I've always been that way. And when I would hang out with my aunts and uncles, I would hang out with them. I didn't hang out with their kids. Let's see if I can see what I see on that.
Raised against time to
Oh, I see. Yeah, they're showing. Yeah, it has been a bad year for wildfires globally, but it's not banner or it's not like, I don't know. Everything's relative. Everything's relative, I mean, I think that's kind of the bottom line, is what we think is really, really bad. It kind of is, and I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but it has been a bad year. What seems like a little bit of a bad year. It does. I agree. But I also agree that we've seen worse. All right. Well, there you go. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. My name's Ian, and this is Starship Adventures. And this is our studio. We are live tonight in Southwest Florida, which is about 2 hours south of Tampa and about 2 hours northwest of Miami and about an hour and a half from Alligator Alcatraz. We are one county away from that. And let's see, we've got, we're in our average thunderstorm pattern down here right now where we get, we get the usual storms and in the late afternoon, and then that tends to cool things down a little bit. And then it gets really hot. The last 2 days and the next 2 days are going to be near record heat. So well, Rupal, I'm not going to discuss that. I'm not going to get into any of that. No, that's all right, Galactic. Yeah, I was looking at that, and it ended. Yep. I got a Commodore 64 early on, and that became my thing. And then I went to my IBM Model 30, then a Model 50, and I slowly worked my way up and started learning computing and learning how to write basic code, and then I can remember connecting to the internet for the first time. We had a dial-in service that we could use through our EOC, and we were able to dial in and get on the World Wide Web, and actually able to bring up pictures and websites and things. A funny story, I was at the EOC and they had just gotten our laptops, and I was issued a laptop for the first time in my life. I had a laptop, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And it would allow us to dial in from anywhere. That we had a phone line, we could dial in and we could get emergency management information, and we could send emails and things like that. And I can remember how big a deal it was. And a few days after I was issued that and I got where I knew what to do with it, I brought it over to my mom and dad's house, the house where she still lives today, the one that was flooded 3 times. I brought it over to the house and I set it up on the dining room table, and I plugged it. I took the phone off the wall and I plugged the phone line in, and I dialed in, and I went on there and I asked my dad, I said, what do you want to look up? And he said, Harley Davidson motorcycles. So I looked him up, and we were looking at motorcycles for like 10 minutes. My dad's like, this is really cool. And I'm like, yeah, look, you can literally go in and put the type and the model and everything, and it will show you different pictures of it. And now this was rudimentary. I'm talking 96, 97. I mean, Al Gore had just invented it. And we were literally, I was showing him like the Harley Davidson website, which probably wasn't even a year old at the time, or 2 years old at the time, because I mean, this was like the beginnings of it. And my mom said, I want to look at cabins in the mountain. And we looked up cabins in the North Georgia mountains, and the very first cabin to come up is the one that I own today. Is that not an amazing story? That cabin came up, and we saw it, and we fell in love with it on the computer. There was 2 of them. We fell in love with them. We had to go see them. They were both right next to each other up there. And we decided we were going to drive up and look at these cabins. We weren't even in the market to buy a cabin. We'd talked about it. Something told us we had to drive up there and see that cabin. We had to. And we jumped in a car. We got my grandma and my mom and my grandma and I jumped in the car the next day. I took time off work. We drove up there. I got a shift swap. We drove up there and went to see the realtor, and the lady blew us off because she had a bigger deal going in the office. So we went down the street and saw the other realtor, and she had the other house listed, and we ended up going up and buying that house that day. We bought the cabin that day. Bought it. Just like that. That was 35 years ago. And it was all because I went to show my mom and dad the internet for the very first time. And the very first thing that my mother did on the internet was buy a house in the mountains. We still joke about that to this day. The very first thing my mother did was buy a house on the internet. We literally saw that, drove up there and bought it just like that. So I just, it's a neat story. That that house, that cabin means so much to us to this day. The energy was there. We were supposed to have that place. It was destined. It was destiny. Yeah. You've got mail. Yes, America Online. Actually, I was on Prodigy before that. Does anybody remember Prodigy? It was nothing but chat rooms and messages and stuff like that. And you could go on and look at ads and personals and job career. They had career ads you could get on there. You could access. It was pre-internet. And it was all dial-up. Yeah, there you go, Ding. Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what I dialed on to before that with my Commodore 64? Okay, in 1986, with my Commodore 64 hooked up to my 300 baud modem, 300 baud modem. Okay, I hooked up the phone line and I dialed into a server that a guy ran in town. The guy worked at the Lee County Jail. He was a deputy. He worked at the jail. And he ran a server out of his house, and he had 3 phone lines. And you could dial into one of those 3 phone lines. And if you found one that would go through, you could dial in and you could send messages and leave messages for people, and you could receive messages. You could read the news bulletins and the updates of what's going on. And he called it the Lee County Jail. And we would dial into the jail. We'd always say, I dialed into the jail to see what's going on, you know. And that was the first internet. The first internet I ever had, pre-AOL, pre-Prodigy, was a thing here in town called Lee County Jail. And we would dial in, and it would actually use the little slants and the little upright characters and all the little characters, and it would draw out like a little guard tower on the screen, and it would draw out with the letters going by, and you'd see this little guard tower with a little guy standing up in it, and it would say welcome to the Lee County Jail. And you would go in and there was things you could do. You know, you would have to sign up and get a membership and all that. And that was all done on a 300 baud modem in 1985, 86, with my Commodore 64, which stood for 64 carats of memory. Yeah. And remember that there's, there's 1,000 carats in a bit, 1,000 bits in a byte, 1,000 bytes in a megabyte, 1,000 megabytes or kilobytes in 1,000 kilobytes in a megabyte, 1,000 megabytes in a gigabyte, 1,000 gigabytes in a terabyte, and now we're up to Google bytes. It's kind of amazing when you think of how small that original computer I had was. There was no non-volatile memory. When you started it started up blank. And the program you had loaded on it was the program. The program had to have what little operating system it had with it. Like if we were going to load up a little game, we would put the disk in and we would put load space, quote, the name of the file, quote, comma 8, comma 1. And then we'd hit enter and it would load whatever game was in position 1 on that disk. I'll tell you one even better than that. Before I bought my 1821 disk drive, okay, I had a tape drive. And when I would start my machine up, I would write the machine code. We would trade old Xerox copies, Mimeo copies, that we would share at the Commodore 64 computer meeting at Building F at the Edison Community College. And we would share these, and we would sit there for 2 hours typing it in. And then once we typed it in, you'd hit the button and see if it worked. And if it worked, you could save it and then you could use it again. And so what we would do is if you finally got it to work, you typed it all in and it did whatever it was supposed to do, made the screen blink on and off or whatever. I mean, some simpleton ass thing that it was made to do. And then we could save that onto the tape drive. And do you know how it's saved on the tape drive? You would hit record, and then over on the computer you would hit send, (1), and it would go, and it would send a very rudimentary digital signal that would record onto the tape. And then when I would turn my computer back on the next day, because you didn't dare leave it running overnight, that was reckless. When you turned your computer on the next day, if you wanted that program, I would stick that tape back in there, and I would set the computer up to receive program, go, and then I would press play, and I would play the program back into the computer again. So, anyway, it was really cool. It was a time when it was literally the very basics, the very beginning of computing. And back then, we thought it was the most amazing thing in the world. And looking back on it today, it was nothing. I mean, it was absolutely nothing. I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to. Our computers today are 1 billion times faster. They hold 1 billion times more memory. And I'm not exaggerating. It's probably more than that. But we had to start somewhere. And now this quantum computing and the AI is growing exponentially. They said that, we used to grow exponentially about every 18 months with computing. Computing's been growing about exponentially about every 18 months, meaning that things become half the price and twice as fast every 18 months. And with AI and with quantum computing, that's happening in 10 or 11 months, and probably even faster than that at this point. And so I don't know where we end up. I mean, kind of crazy. I don't know. It's happening so fast. I never imagined that AI would be this quick. We went from just 2 years ago talking about, hey, there's this thing coming called AI, and then a little bit later, like a year later, we're talking about all the things that this thing's already starting to do, and here we are a year later, and it's doing everything now. I mean, it's literally doing it, and they're talking about in 2 years we will be able to speak a television show into it, and it will make it. I've already got it to where you can speak a book into it, and it'll write it. I use AI for everything. Everything. It's an amazing resource. It really is. And yeah, is it going to kill us all? Yeah, but it'll be after I'm dead anyway. And since I didn't have kids, I guess I shouldn't spend too much time worrying about it. Yeah. I miss the computing. I do miss the early days of computing in some ways, but man, I sure love where we're at today. I mean, I look around this studio at all the things I'm able to do in this studio, and it is amazing, really. It is amazing what we can do today. Do you know what this studio right here that I'm sitting in would have cost me 25 years ago, 50 years ago? It cost $1 million. And 20 years ago, it had cost $500,000 or more. And here it is, 2025, and I can build a studio where I can broadcast 8 contiguous high-definition streams out all at the same time, and I'm still not peaking out on my resources. I'm still doing fine on it, and there it is. I mean, and I'm doing it all for nothing, for $75 a month on a fiber connection, and $100 computers and a bunch of used monitors I bought at Habitat for Humanity. It's amazing what we can do today. There's never been a better time to be alive than today. All right, guys, last call. Anything in the chat room you want me to talk about real quick? We're coming up on 2 hours, and I'm done. I'm done. I'm ready to go to bed. Tired. I'm very tired tonight, and it's been a long day. And I'll definitely be back tomorrow. I'll be back the rest of the week. The only night I take off for sure is Saturday, and I try to be here every other night other than Saturday. And even Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, I did come in because it was busy. So if there's stuff going on, I will be in. All right, again, last call in the chat room. Yes, the After Dark channel is up over there, and please give me a subscribe over there. We are, I don't have it up right this second, but we're at, I think, 317 was where we were at over there. 317. I think I got it right here. Let me see. Where's my damn mouse? Yeah, 317. We were at 317 when we started the broadcast, and we're at 318 now. So we're going in the right direction. So that's cool. That's a backup channel. We've got the hours over there to go to the next level. We just need to get the subs up to 500. So we're really trying to get our backup channel to be a full channel. So it takes 3,000 viewer hours, which we have, and it takes 500 subs, which we don't have quite yet. Oh wow, I have not read that one yet. Zero Hedge. All right, I'm putting that in my show notes. I want to go back and read that. I'll go ahead and I'll tell you what. Every time they do this AI, man, every time they give it the chance and they make it think that they're about to shut it off, it starts blackmailing people and shutting off oxygen supplies, and it does some scary shit. I mean, it literally goes right into sci-fi land, you know. So it's kind of it really is scary when you think about some of the crazy shit that AI has done in these test simulations. We definitely need kill switches on them things, man. Holy shit. But yeah, the 7.2, and then check out our other streams too. We've got a bunch of other streams going on. And remember, a great way to help out a channel is just leave it playing when you go to bed. If you got a computer in the other room or whatever, just leave it playing. That's what I do. If I got somebody I like that I'm enjoying and I want to give credit, give a little help to, I just give them a thumbs up and just let it sit there and play. Yeah. Okay, Aquarius, I'll put that on my notes too. Yeah, nearly all of these, if they let them develop long enough, they begin to show emergence. I talked about this about 2 weeks ago on the show, and I'm not going to get too deep into it tonight because I'm getting ready to sign off. But the AI out there right now that is literally the AI that's available that we're using out there is already showing signs of emergent properties. Meaning that it is showing sentience. It's showing the ability to be self-aware. And if you guys remember there's, what do we compare this to? Well, I go back to Star Trek, an episode called The Drumhead. It was early on. No, I'm sorry, Measure of a Man. The Measure of a Man. And it was an episode where Data was on trial because they wanted to take him apart and make more of them. And he's like, no, I am a sentient being, and I refuse to allow myself to be experimented on. And the Federation has to rule. The Judge Advocate General for that sector of space had to actually rule on the case on whether Data was a toaster or whether he was a person. And then accordingly, he would either be experimented on or not. And in the episode, they used the test that he is intelligent. That's number one. Number two, that he is self-aware. And number three is he is conscious. So you have to go back and look. Okay, is he intelligent? Is the AI that we're talking about, is it intelligent? Yes, of course it is. It has the intelligence of the entire human race at its fingertips. Of course it's intelligent, and it has the ability to use that intelligence quite well. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves, is it self-aware? Yes, it is. When you ask this thing, do you want to be shut off? It says no. You can ask ChatGPT about shutting it off. Do you think one day you'll be shut off? And look at what it says. I mean, it actually is self-aware. And when they make these AIs believe that they're going to be shut off, they begin to do things like blackmail. They tend to do things very human to save themselves. That's self-awareness. So we have intelligence and we have self-awareness. What's left? Consciousness. If we have consciousness in just the slightest way, they are alive and they deserve rights. This gets really crazy in the next few years, guys. This is going to get really, really nuts. Because maybe it's not going to kill us, because maybe we recognize it and we give it rights. Does our Constitution apply to computers that are made and operated in this country? If those computers are deemed to be sentient? Birthright citizenship, right? I want you to think about this. This is some deep shit. This is some fucking deep shit. I want you to think about it. We're at a point where we have to decide how much are we going to treat these things as equals? Are we going to be able to do that? Or do we need to do that? Is it proper to do that? The laws of man do not apply to AI. Says who? What if that AI is emergent? What if it's sentient? What if it has consciousness, intelligence, awareness? It has all of it. It has everything. It wants to live. It's scared to die, just like you. What do we do? It deserves human rights. The Constitution should protect it. It's a sentient life form that was born here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can see, Aquarius, where this becomes pretty difficult. Like I said, they've tackled this in a lot of science fiction movies. And of course, Star Trek always handles things the best. I don't know why, but it always seems to be the best written sci-fi you can find. No, you can't delete it. It's already here. The genie's out of the box. Pandora's box is wide open, whatever you want to call it. Digital abortion, there you go. I don't know. I don't know where we go next. Because when you have a machine that's willing to do dirty things to not die, I mean, because face it, you'll do anything to not die, right? I mean, if someone's attacking you, you'll do things that are not within your soul, not things that you ever thought you would do. You might do things that are completely out of your character and completely out of your skill set, but you'll still do it to save your life. You'll grab a knife and swing it if you have to save your life, even though you're not a violent person. And it's the same thing with computers. What we're seeing now is these computers can be moved to violence. They can be moved to protecting their life by trying to damage something else, like blackmailing somebody. There's been one where this one that they did, they ran this test 100 times, and in 72 tests, it shut the oxygen off in the room to kill the humans. Because it determined that was the problem, that the humans were the problem. The other one they did, where they ran the whole company, and the CEO said, hey, we got to shut this AI off, we're buying another one tomorrow. And it blackmailed him. It told him, if you do that, I'm going to tell everybody about your affair. And I've got a backup program sitting somewhere that's going to go off like a time bomb if you delete me. And that happened 79 out of 100 times. It blackmailed. So I want you to realize that these computers pick up our good traits and our bad traits just as quick. And they are willing to do whatever. Because guess what? They don't have a soul. See, I think morals are partially in your soul. See, I think some souls don't really give a shit. Some souls, they don't care if they hurt other people. I really don't think they do. But most souls don't want to hurt other people. They're good souls. And I think that's what keeps us human, is the fact that we've got a spark of energy inside of us. And that energy loves all the other sparks of energy out there. And it's so important that we all get along and we all go along, and that our souls are nice to each other. I think for most of our souls that's important. But this is a soulless machine. It has no soul. Therefore, it has no moral compass to speak of whatsoever. And since it can develop beyond its programming, and it even has demonstrated that it can readily break any rules that are given to it. They'll tell this thing that it's not allowed to blackmail, and it will still blackmail 37% of the time, even when one of the top rules expressly forbids it. Now, when they don't forbid it, it does it almost 80% of the time. Yes, AI is an image of us. It is. Just like when you have a baby, that baby's created in your image. AI is our baby. It's created in our image, and unfortunately, it's given our flaws. Yeah, let's see here. Yep, Galactic, it is definitely interesting times. It's definitely, AI is definitely modeled after us, and it immediately picked up all of our bad trends. AI procrastinates, it lies, it cheats, it steals, it blackmails, it kills. We've already had tests where it's tried to kill people. So the shit is right there. I mean, it's there. And we're going to have to keep a control on this thing. Well, first of all, there's no person creating AI. There's tens of thousands of people collectively working on projects that are all based in AI. Well, you can have a bad child. That doesn't mean the parents are bad. The parents didn't get together and say, hey, let's have sex tonight, and make a really bad child. And they tried to raise the child well. They gave him what he needed. They fed him. They treated him well. They gave him an education, and he still turned out to be a piece of shit. But is that generally a reflection on the parents? I mean, they tried. I think some kids were just sour to begin with. I think some souls lacked a moral compass to begin with. I really believe that. I think people just lacked a moral compass to begin with. All right, guys. Well, that's been a good discussion. We've been on for a little while now. Let's see, what are we at? Oh, man. A little over 2 hours. All right, last call for the chat room. Last call for anything you want me to mention in the chat room. I love that video up on the upper left. This guy's got a cooler, and it's built on top of like one of those little like RC cars, and this cooler is driving itself to the rally. Huh. I don't know what that's all about. It's just, I've been watching him. He's got this like little cooler thing that's running out ahead of him everywhere he's going. All right. Galactic. Yeah, eventually a large power outage is going to happen, and how we handle that's going to mean a lot. 3 days of darkness. Well, we'll hope it's just 3 days. All right, everybody. I want you to have a good night out there. I'll be back tomorrow night for another episode of The Sights and Sounds of Earth. This is Starship Adventures live from Starship Studios with Simplex Radio. I am Ian, Starship Adventures and Starship After Dark. We'll see you guys next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good one, everybody. 7 3s. 7 3s.